So there's a fair bit of people that call Patti Smith the godmother of punk rock. While Patti Smith has gone on herself to say that she doesn't really feel like she identifies as punk, that's fine. She has certainly gone on to aspire punk in general. And with no exception, this mix that I'm working on right now is for this band Captain Kaiser from Belgium, whom I adore. And while I was out producing their last LP, we had a little extra time. So we tracked. They asked me, hey, can we do a Patti Smith cover? I said, yeah, totally. We tracked it, and it wasn't a part of the original release schedule, but we're getting around to mixing it now. It sounds awesome. And I thought I would just kind of like walk through this, particularly the bass and drums, and just like what reimagining a classic Pissing in a River Patti Smith song can be like, you know, from a Euro punk band who's just like putting their entirely own spin on it. It's its own thing. I don't know. It's just cool to me. I love to see it. Let's check it out. So I don't want to give the song away because, you know, like it's not released. But there's some really cool moments. One of my favorite moments is when it drops into this tight hi-hat groove. Check out these hi-hats. Like, they sound bad good. I've learned on some records, like if you listen to Strokes records, or I don't know, there's a lot of cool punk records where sonically it's kind of chunky, but like I'm into it. So you can see we just filter out some kick drum and a little bit of mid-range here, but like just the sound themselves is like, it's not like that nice refined, like, I don't know how to put this. I'm going to like talk at the mic. It's not that like up here, like it's more of like a and I think that's, for this, is really cool. And actually, I think like the bass and the drums together work really, really well. Let's solo the bass and drums. Then I kind of want to talk about like the bass amp itself too. So if I could learn how to solo, sweet. So for the bass amp here, we did not use, if we look at our fader here, over here you can see we have signal, and then on the DI, we don't have signal because, as we all know, this is actually not entirely true, but it's fun to say, bass DI is not punk. Having said that, I've used bass DIs on a lot of punk records, but not this one. This one does not have bass DI, so there. Anyway, let's listen to just the bass itself. The tone came right out of the amp, and it's really common when we're doing these like distorted bass guitar tones. First of all, they're kind of compressed out of the box. I did use some analog compression on this, but you know, to distort something in general is to compress it, and you can really see that here. Like, check this out. Like, right, there's tons of dynamics in the DI, right, that are just not reflected in the printed bass, and the reason is distortion. But what can also happen is the pick attack can go, you know what, crazy. So this is this like, hold on, let me turn Soothe off. I want to show you this. See this 2.1 right here? Let's listen to it. Not the most pleasant sound in the world, right? So we're going to turn Soothe back on. You can see it's right at 2.1 here. Let me make this nice and big for YouTube. Boom. So we're dialing back that horrible whistle, and then we're just putting it right into a low pass filter, just chopping off some like stuff we don't need. Just like I'll call this like the not cool part of the pick attack. And there's like one last thing I want to talk about that I talk about with bass. When I'm looking for like a good distorted bass tone, I look for sort of like the three peaks, right? So you're gonna have like your low end, and then you're gonna have your pick attack, right? And so you're gonna have a big scoop in the middle. More metal like genres are going to be like real scooped. This is like mid scooped, but I like to have one harmonic in the mid range that is neither like the super low and neither the super high, but is like kind of coming up like this because it makes your bass sound better on smaller playback systems. So let's see that. Cool. And so we can roughly approximate what I'm talking about here, right? We get the big boy stuff here, the low end, right? Then this is that sort of like mid-range boost that happens here before, like we come down, but then we boost up, and then we go into pick attack land. This is whistle land right here. And when it all comes together, this translates really well to like a lot of different playback devices. It just sounds sick when everything's put together.
Tattooed fingers shy away from me. Voices.
And then we can go to like this part where it really starts rocking, and I love it.
Cry me a river. Everything I've done for you. Oh, I give my life for you. Every move I made, I moved to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know this is like just one of these weird videos that I rip off when I'm just like mixing something and I get really excited about it. And I'm like, I have to tell the world now. But it is what happens, you know? And I think about these levels of iteration and inspiration that occur. You know, I did a video years ago when Eddie Van Halen passed away. Like, I'm not like a huge Van Halen fan, but I don't know, like right here, like this is a first year 5150, right? And I wrote a bunch of Defeater stuff on that and use that as my primary North American touring amp for like a long time. And, you know, inspired by that generation in that time. And we just like that constant iteration that goes from, I don't know, just like 70s punk all the way up through like, you know, it's just funny to think like Minor Threat is like, was like the hardest, fastest, coolest thing to me ever. Like, you know, when I was skating in the late 80s. And then like now when I hear someone like say like hardcore, like it sounds like metal to me. To me, it just sounds like insane metal. So we'll just see where things go. And so this as a Patti Smith cover is probably to what hardcore is now comparatively to Minor Threat, you know, something like that. All right, I'm rambling. That's all. I just wanted to rip this video off, and later.